Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine, and today we're going to continue our session on Unit 1 teaching aptitude, right? And today our topic is offline versus online teaching. It's quite important because in exam they ask question based on that. So when we talk about learning online, it's all about like taking classes from wherever you are, kind of like having school at your fingertips, right? It's super flexible for both students and teacher, but then there is this old school way, right? Offline learning, where you actually have to show up to a class, sit down and learn face to face with your teachers and classmates, right? So let me tell you first about the offline teaching methods, right? So this is a kind of old school fashioned way, right? Or it's a classic way of learning. Picture this: you're sitting in the classroom with the teacher up front sharing all the knowledge. It's all about face to face chat, raising your hand to ask a question, and maybe the occasional paper airplane when the teacher's not looking, right? Remember those school field trips in museum or historical sites? That's offline learning in action. You're there in person soaking up information directly from experts or exhibits, right? And offline teaching is pretty kind of teacher centric approach. So the teachers is a kind of the star of the show, and students are more like the audience soaking up the information. It's a lot of like listening and taking notes with teaching methods that haven't changed much over the year, right? And think lectures, textbooks and the occasional PowerPoint if you're lucky. So interaction with tech, not so much. It's more about the person to person interaction. So imagine learning to play guitar from an instructor in a music shop. You're getting that direct feedback and guidance, which is great, but it's all happening on their schedule, not yours, right? So it has also some advantage and disadvantage, right? So there is something about being in a classroom that just makes you pay attention. Maybe it's the fear of getting called on, or just the environment, but distraction are kind of definitely favor. Plus teachers can really get to know their students, offering help and feedback on the spot. So, and on the other hand, we have some disadvantage, like if you're living miles away from school or have a tight schedule, getting to class can be real hassle, right? Or sometimes you miss a class. Now let's move into online teaching methods. So imagine you're learning to play the guitar, but instead of a strict instructor telling you what to do, you're exploring different songs and styles that you love. That's what we are talking about here. In online learning, it's not just about the teacher kind of sharing facts, or it's more like you're on a journey of discovery with the teacher as your guide, helping you piece together the music theory behind your favorite tunes. You are in the driver's seat, actively piecing together chords or scales rather than just listening to lectures, right? So think about how you use YouTube or Instagram to learn new things, from cooking a new recipe to mastering a skateboard trick, right? So online learning is a kind of bit like that. You're not just listening, you're watching, clicking, and sometimes even virtually doing. It's a bit like having a multimedia Swiss army knife at your disposal. Your interaction with tech becomes your new classroom, right? Now let's talk about some advantage of this, right? So, you can literally roll out from bed, grab your laptop and you're in class. No commute, no searching for a parking spot, and if you're a night owl or an early bird, you can review the class recordings whenever it suits you best, right? But remember how binge watching your favorite series kind of felt great but left you with square eyes. So that's a real kind of downside here too. Too much screen time can be a drag, and not just for your eyes but for your overall well-being, right? And let me tell you about some how teacher or student can improve that online teaching or learning methods, right? So Short classes with breaks are like those bite-sized YouTube videos you can't stop watching, right? It keeps everyone's brain fresh and throwing in a kind of doubt clearing session now and then, and it's like having a Q&A with your favorite author after binge reading their series, right? So for students, right, they can actually take those breaks seriously. They have to take break between the classes, right? And sometimes they have to stay away from the screen or a stretch or do a kind of a little bit workout, right? And always, if you're a student, keep a notepad ready for those light bulb moments and questions. So, guys, that's all about online and offline teaching and learning methods that we had just general overview. Now we'll just talk about some of the important initiatives started by our government, right? Like Swayam. So, what is this Swayam? So, Swayam is this cool digital classroom initiative kicked off by the Indian government, right? And think of it as the Netflix of education, where instead of movies and TV shows, you get lots of educational courses. So, the big idea here is to make learning accessible to everyone and especially everywhere, right? And focusing on three big goals, and which is making sure everyone can get to it, like access. Then we have equity, like ensuring fairness, and then delivering top notch learning, which is the quality, right? Imagine living in a remote village or being someone who, for whatever reason, couldn't jump on the digital bandwagon. Well, so Swayam is like a bridge connecting you straight to the heart of India's educational revolution, right? And it's not just about reading books online, it's a whole experience with videos, quizzes, and forum where you can, just chat and clear up any doubts that you have, right? And the names is pretty cool, like Swayam, which usually stands for Study Webs of Active Learning for Young Aspiring Minds. And it's all about empowering yourself through learning. Launched with a bang by who? The president back in July 2017. So this platform is a part of the Digital India campaign, aiming to equip folks with knowledge at no cost. Right. So now picture this. You are a kind of high school kid, or maybe someone looking to pick up a new skill, right? What you do, you hop onto Swayam and find courses from the best of the best, from IITs, IIMs, you just name it, right? And taught by professor like who know their stuff. And it's not just for college level learners, there's something for everyone from class 9 to onwards, right? Here's a real life example to bring it home. Like, let's say you're interested in coding but have no idea where to start, right? So, through Swayam, you could find a beginner's course taught by an IIT professor, right? Complete with video lessons, reading material, and quizzes to test your knowledge. It's like having a personal tutor, but you can pause and replay them as much as you like, right? And Swayam breaks down courses into 4 parts, right? And to make learning as engaging as playing a video game, you have got your video lecture first, like think of YouTube tutorials, and then reading materials like ebooks, then quizzes, sort of like BuzzFeeds or quizzes that we always do, right? And forum like Reddit for learning, right? So these are all parts are quite important in Swayam. So what you have to remember, when it was started like 2017 by who? MHRD, right? And one more thing, that it has over 2000 cores, right? And these are all very important thing. Now let me tell you about, to ensure that the best quality content is produced and delivered, there are 9 national coordinator, right? And who are they? AICT, simply what? All India Council for Technical Education, right? And designed for self-paced and international courses. Then we have National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, which is NPTE. especially designed who are doing engineering, right? Then we have University Grants Commission, UGC, which you all know that it provides training and courses for non-technical post-graduation education. Then we have Consortium for Educational Communication, that is simply CEC, which provides courses and training for all undergraduate students, right? And then we have like National Council of Educational Research and Training, simple NCERT, right, which generally provide courses for school education. Then we have NEOS, which is National Institute of Open Schooling, and then we have IGNU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, right? Then we have IIMB, like Indian Institute of Management Bangalore for management studies, and then of course we have National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, NITTTR, right? So this provide also training and courses for the teacher training program. Quite important, all these terms that comes in Swayam, right? So in a nutshell, Swayam is your all access pass to learning, whether you're aiming to crack the code on computer learning or programming, or understand the mystery of universe, or just kind of boost up your resume with kind of some new skills, right? It's education democratized, digitized, and delivered straight to your screen, no matter where you are, right? So that's the beauty of Swayam. Now let me tell you another, which is Swayamprabha, and most of the time they ask question based on that. You should remember that this is a kind of very cool educational platform that the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, started it, right? So picture this: you have access to not 10, not 20, but whopping kind of 34 TV channels that are on the air all day, every single day. And originally they started with 32, but guess what, they added 2 more, because well, the more the merrier, right? So they total we have like 34 TV channel. So what's the big idea behind Swayamprabha, you might be wondering, right? It's all about bringing classroom learning to your living room or wherever you have a TV, right? They have set up these channels to turn educational programs around the clock, right? It's like Netflix, but for those who learn, right? So you have got big names like NPTEL, and then we have IIT, UGC, and NCERT, right? And others, they are all also behind the content, which is pretty much the same crew that manages the Swayam online portal, right? So these 22 out of 34 channels use the magic of GSAT 15 satellite, right? Remember that, to broadcast all this brainy content for 24/7. Every day they roll out at least 4 hours of fresh materials, and then they replay it 5 times throughout the day. So this means you can catch up on lessons whenever it fits in your schedule, right? So imagine being a student who's also a night owl, or finding it super convenient to learn about quantum physics at 2 a.m. Well, or maybe you're an early bird who likes to start the day with some literature lessons at 6 a.m. So Swayamprabha makes it possible, right? And broadcasting from Bisagji, remember the place, Gandhinagar, and it is managed online by who? None other than INFLIBNET Center, right? So this platform is a kind of treasure trove for students at different levels, for those in college or university, or whether you're diving into the depth of the arts, cracking the codes of commerce, or exploring the expanses of engineering, or getting your brain around biotech. There's something for you, right? So, and it's not just about getting through your exams. These courses are designed to be on your resume too, with certificates that kind of gives another advantage, right? So for the younger crowd, especially high school students in grades 9 to 12, Swayamprabha is like a secret weapon. It's got training modules for teachers and learning aids that makes subjects clearer, not to mention the boost it gives you for those nerve-wracking competitive exams for college admission or for lectureship, right? Like we are talking about UGC NET, right? So also they have course based on your NET exam, so you can also go and watch, right? Let's say you're a high schooler dreaming of becoming an engineer or doctor. This platform has your back with specialized content that kind of prepares you for those tough entrance exams, right? And it's not just for folks in India, whether you're studying in India or halfway across the globe. If you're keen on learning something new or brushing up on your skills, then Swayamprabha has got you covered, right? So, in a nutshell, Swayamprabha is like having a personal tutor at your back all the time, right? And whether you're aiming to ace your college course or thinking to crack UGC NET exam, this has everything and it's a resource worth tuning in, right? So next time you're flipping through channels looking for something worthwhile, remember there's a whole world of knowledge waiting for you with just a click of your remote, right? And next, let me tell you about PM eVIDYA. What is this? So imagine the government of India rolling out a super cool education project called PM eVIDYA, right? And think of it as your all access pass to a treasure trove of learning material, no matter where you are or what gadgets you have at your disposal. This isn't your average online learning platform, right? It's like, as I always say, Swiss Army knife for education, offering a bunch of different tools all in one place, right? So picture this: whether you're chilling at home with Wi-Fi, hanging out in a place where the internet is as rare as a unicorn, or even just tuning into the radio while helping out at home, PM eVidya got you back. It's like having a library or classroom and your favorite podcast all rolled into one, accessible through internet, your TV, your radio, and you name it, right? So now let's talk about something super neat, our PM eVidya, right? So the 12 TV channels, remember that, the number 12 TV channels. Imagine a TV channel just for your grade, playing shows that actually help you learn stuff for school, whether you're in your first grade or all the way up to 12th. There's a channel just for you. Isn't it amazing? So it's like having a personal tutor, except it's on TV and it's free, right? So these channels are a game changer for kids living in places where the internet is as slow as a snail, right? So making sure everyone gets a fair shot at learning. So the content on these channels isn't just random stuff, it's carefully curated educational material that's based on your school's curriculum. We're talking about the good stuff from big names in education like NCERT, CBSE, and others. And it's not just in one language, there are shows in both English and Hindi, right? So language is not the barrier there. You can just go and check it out, right? And here's where it gets even cooler. Ever heard of QR code, right? Those little square barcodes you scan with your phone to pay, right? Your Google Pay or Phone Pay. Each show comes with its own QR code so that you can scan to find your awesome content online on DIKSHA website. So if you're watching a physics lesson on TV and just can't get enough zap or that QR code and dive into the topic on your phone or computer. Okay, then let me paint a picture for you. Say you're a kid in a remote village, right, where internet service is as rare as finding a four-leaf clover, right? But you have got a TV. Every day you tune into your grades channel and get lessons that are just as good as what kids in the big cities are learning through their fancy online classes, right? And when something really sparks your interest, you just head over to a friend's place where they have internet, scan the QR code from the TV lessons and explore more about it on the DIKSHA website. It's like having the future of education at your fingertips, no matter where you are, right? Now let me tell you about the MOOCs. So these days we have many MOOC platforms, like we have Udemy, Coursera, right? All these platforms are also the model of MOOC, right? So imagine you're chilling on your couch, scrolling through your phone, and you stumble upon this cool concept called MOOCs. Well, what is this? It's like Netflix, but instead of binge watching TV shows, you're actually diving into courses from some of the best universities around the globe, right? So this massive open online course, right, are these online platform where anyone, anywhere, can learn pretty much anything. And the best part, it's mostly free, and there is no cap on how many can join. So picture it as an all you can eat buffet of knowledge 24/7. Right. So back in 2008, someone had this bright idea, and it is by 2012 it exploded in popularity. It's like everyone suddenly wanted a piece of this educational pie. So these platforms aren't just about watching video lectures, they are like mini online campuses, right? You have got your student forums, interactive sessions, and even virtual study groups. Imagine chatting about quantum physics with someone on the other side of the planet, or getting feedback on your essay from a student in Brazil. Now let's talk about where you can find these courses. Right, so ever heard of NPTEL or VisaIQ? Well, NPTEL, we have YouTube channel also. You can just go and find, they have this channel also, right? So this is also backed by big brains at IIT and the Indian Institute of Science, right, offering a ton of courses for free. Then there is VisIQ, where you might have to shell out some cash, but you're getting quality stuff. And it's not just them, there is the whole lineup like Coursera, edX, Udemy, you name it. There are so many educational platforms. Each platform has its own vibe, from academic heavyweights like Stanford Online to more casual learn at your own pace like Khan Academy. So there are also, advantage and disadvantage, right? So the upside is, where do I start? You can literally learn from the best without leaving your bed, right? And it's not just about saving a few bucks on tuition, it's about learning at your own rhythm, right? So if you're night owl, perfect, watch a lecture at 2 a.m., right? Or you're early bird, get your learning done with your morning coffee. Plus it's a ticket to joining a global classroom. I mean, how cool is it to work on a project with someone from a totally different culture, right? But hey, it's not all rainbows, right? There are some disadvantage also. Like, since anyone can create a course, you might end up in a wild west scenario where it's tough to find the gold among the dirt, right? So you need to be somewhat tech savvy to navigate these platforms, and self discipline is a key. No one's going to nag you about deadline here, right? And while it's awesome that the content keeps evolving with student input, it can also get a bit chaotic, kind of like trying to direct a movie with 1,000 directors on set, right? Like I was last time I was just going through their ePathshala, all this stuff. Well, actually they have organized everything really well. If you're learning to pass UGC NET English exam, then they have the bunch of PDFs, and also quizzes that you can try. Now let me tell you about another initiative, that is National Digital Educational Architecture. So by the architecture name you can understand, right? So back in 2021, the Indian government had this cool idea when they were planning the union budget, right? They thought, hey, why not kind of boost up our digital game in education? And then what? Boom, the National Digital Educational Architecture was born. So think of this NDEAR as this big ambitious project to make sure India's educational system is as tech savvy as it gets, right? They want to make sure that everyone involved in education, from the big shots to your local school, has the freedom to use digital tools in their own unique way, right? Then we have DIKSHA. In exam they asked about that DIKSHA, then what it is, right? Imagine you're a student or teacher or even a parent trying to help your kid with homework, and you're looking for some solid curriculum based stuff online. Then DIKSHA is like that massive digital library that got rolling when 2017, remember the date, packed with all sorts of learning goodies. And the best part, it speaks your language literally, with material in 18 Indian languages. That's amazing, right? Whether you're in Kashmir or Kanyakumari, there's something for you. It's like having a personal tutor at your fingertips, no matter where you are in India, right? Now let me tell you about ePathshala, and everybody must have heard about it, right? And there is YouTube channel for that too, right? And this was started back in 2015. Think of it as your go-to online kiosk for educational resources. Suppose you need a video on how volcano erupts from your science project, or maybe an audio clip on the French Revolution. So ePathshala got you. It's like Netflix but for school stuff, remember, and you can dive in from any gadget you have got, right? Even if it's a smartphone or laptop, you name it, right? Then we have another important, NISHTHA, and what it is. So this one is all about giving teachers a leg up, right? Launched in financial year 21. Remember that. It's like a massive online training camp for teachers, making sure they're up to speed with the latest in teaching methods, right? And by financial year 2022, they're planning to train a whopping 5.6 million teachers, right? Imagine your favorite teacher suddenly getting even better at making classes interesting, right? So you should thank to NISHTHA, right? And that's eventually the plan. Then we have OLabs, and OLabs is what? So picture this, you're super into science, but your school's lab looks like it's from the Stone Age, right? No worries, guys. We have OLabs, right? And it's like having a virtual science lab where you can conduct experiments online as if you were right there in the lab, like goggles on, an experiment ready to go, right? And it was started in November 2014. It's a game changer for students who might not have access to well equipped lab, right? Then there is virtual lab, and what is that? So back in 2009, the government of India had this cool idea. They thought, hey, why not create a virtual lab? This wasn't just any lab though. It was designed to be a game changer for college folks studying science and engineering, right? And imagine sitting in your pajama or coffee in hand and accessing kind of top-notch lab experiments from your laptop, right? And that's what they aimed for. And by 2010, they had this main virtual lab up and running, right? And it was like having a science lab in your pocket, right? So these virtual lab got everything from video lectures that feel like watching Netflix, animated demos that make complex stuff look easy, and tons of web resources. It's like having a personal tutor who's always there to help you out day or night. Plus they have thrown in some kind of quizzes and tests to make sure you're keeping up, kind of like those fitness apps that gently remind you to get moving, right? So the Indian government didn't stop there. They launched a bunch of digital initiative to make learning, kind of more accessible to everyone. Imagine turning on the radio and catching a lesson from Shiksha Vani, courtesy of CBSE, or if you're into podcast or need sign language contact, then NIOS has got you covered. They have also got this thing called Daisy for students who need hearing or visual aids, making sure everyone is included. And for the tech savvy, there's Fossey, right, which is all about using free open source software for education. Then we have GSAT 3 or EDUSAT, right? Picture this. It's 2004 and India sends this satellite into the space dedicated purely for what? Education. Right, and it was a big deal because it was the first of its kind, aiming to connect classrooms across the country through space. So EDUSAT had this cool setup with different transponders. Those are like the satellite's way of sending signals back to Earth to cover the entire nation. Right, and whether you are in a bustling city or remote village, EduSat was there to beam down lessons and knowledge. So this Information and Library Network Center, or simply INFLIBNET as it's more commonly known, right? And picture this, a place that's all about boosting and supporting libraries and the treasure trove of information they hold. Really, especially focusing on the educational scene in India. Now imagine this hub sitting in the vibrant city of what? Gandhinagar in Gujarat, right? And it's been around since March 1991, starting as a part of cool project on astronomy and astrophysics, but then by June 1996 it spreads its wing to become its own boss, right? And reporting directly to the University Grant Commission of India. So what does that INFLIBNET do? You might be wondering, right? So imagine it as the internet superhighway, but for the university library across India, connecting them at lightning speed so that information and resources can zoom from one library to another in no time, right? It's like having a magic portal that opens up a world of knowledge across universities, right? Making sure that the students and researchers get what they need without breaking a sweat. And one of the coolest things about INFLIBNET that it does help university step in the future by digitizing their library. Think of it like giving libraries a tech makeover, right, where everything from finding a book to checking it out is just a click away, thanks to generous financial help from INFLIBNET. They've also been busy beeps putting together a massive database of resources available in Indian library, right? And which is a kind of like creating a giant online catalog where you can find out which library has the book or journal you need, right? Then there is Soul, right? Not the philosophical kind, but a smart library management application developed by INFLIBNET. It's like having a digital librarian that helps keeps things organized and running smoothly. They have also launched UGC InfoNet, which is all about getting universities hooked up with fast internet, ensuring that the flow of knowledge is uninterrupted, right? Now let's talk about their open access initiative, which are all about making research and academic work freely available to anyone with internet access, right? We have OJAS, and this is a platform where university faculty and researchers can publish journals, making it easier for knowledge to spread, right? Then we have Sodhganga, which is also started by INFLIBNET, remember that, and is also a digital vault filled with thesis and dissertation from research scholar across India, offering a peek into the cutting edge research happening in various fields. And then we have Sodhgangotri, which, as we have already discussed in our unit second research aptitude, Sodhgangotri, which the kind of follows suit but with research proposal, right? Giving everyone a heads up on what new discoveries are on the horizon, right? For those looking to hit the books hard, INFLIBNET or ePathshala is gold mine for postgraduate courses, right? Offering a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips. And if you're keen on getting behind the scenes of library management or ICT, they have got training courses that could turn you into a pro. So, in a nutshell, INFLIBNET is like the superhero of academic world, right? Using its tech power to make sure that libraries are not just places with shelves or books, but dynamic hubs of knowledge and learning that are accessible to everyone in India. It's all about connecting dots across the academic landscape, making sure that knowledge flows freely and efficiently, helping to shape a brighter, smarter future. Right? So, guys, that was all today. In our next session, we'll talk about teaching support system, and also we'll talk about traditional teaching support system, modern and ICT based support system. Right? And that's all for today, and I'll see you in our next session. So, bye bye and have a good day.